Hey, welcome back to I Write Christian, the space for space. I'm your host, Nye, and today's episode is random, but it isn't really random. Um, I had a planned episode too, and I probably will do it because I need to, but today I just wanted to press record. Um, I guess I just wanted to be honest about and open about where I am and where I'm standing. So I guess this is a little bit of a setting the record straight or making things clear, rather. Um, One of the big things that I struggle with when it comes to deciding to create a podcast or, my blog is deciding what my voice is, how I want to use it, and how not to basically like how to stay focused with what it is that I want to do and not get caught up in different things that would cause me to express things the way that I don't want to. Like being too emotional or too personal. Um And it's not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's not where I want to do this. And it's like sometimes I'm tempted to vent and I don't want to vent. So I'm like, okay, um, there's already something that I decided to do, but because I go through the things I go through, I'm always like, you know, I just be feeling like I'm just gonna say it and out of some stuff I don't need to just say. Um, you know, so just to have it, on record and officially letting it set in my mind. My intentions here aren't to vent or, you know, be very personal in terms of like the details. Um, or rather details that I should keep to myself because there is a level of privacy you need to have. Even when you don't have a podcast or a blog, you don't need to tell everybody every single thing. Some stuff is personal, some stuff is irrelevant, some stuff it is your life and is meant to stay between you and God. Now, if you decide to do that, that's on you, but that's not something that I want to do. Even though it's something that I struggle with feeling like I need to do. Um, this space is just me saying, like, in a private and still open way, this is where I am in life. I'm not, this is where I am in life. And I'm not interested in saying that I'm something I'm not. Like, a lot of podcasts you hear and different things, and it's not about like comparing myself to them or, trying to get people to compare. It's just when you like be on social media for a lot of time or whatever, you just see people be so they be raw. They say they're raw, but they be performative. And it's kind of annoying to be someone who would like some valid advice or, even though you shouldn't. I mean, it depends on where it comes from, but you can want validation from people um I think what I'm really trying to communicate is just hoping to get online and seeing people understand, because everybody has their opinions and their lives and things, and then, a lot of times you don't meet or see relatable people online or anything like that. And me, like, I'm a big Reddit user, so uh like Reddit is where people relate. Like, I love Reddit. Like, I just like Reddit. I don't know if it's the I don't really even want to try to say that word, but the anonymity, it's anonymous basically. um you know, the anonymity of it all, um that makes people be so open, but I really like that. And I'm inspired by it. And the thing about it is, even though I like Reddit, I don't necessarily like the fact that it's anonymous, because it's like, can we all just have this agreement that we're human, and like, we all basically go through the same thing? So, like, why are we hiding it or pretending that we don't? And like I said, no one needs to know like details or anything, but it's just, can we just I don't know, like, can we just stop pretending? Like, it's just aggravating. Um and I do know that there's a lot of factors within that. Like, at the core of me feeling like that is, I just hate how times progressed and transformed into people not really trying to connect anymore, or realize that, they live a lot of the same lives as other people. So I think technology and social media and things just cause us to separate in different things. But, nonetheless, it's just me being who I am and preferring things like that, and then creating a space for me to be that way. And, for others, especially Christians and people walking with God, um, just creating a space to be, you know, without all the extra, just without performing, I guess. Like, um, okay, so I'm collecting my thoughts before I get the and like, I recorded something yesterday and I feel like I said like 15 times within the first 5 minutes, and I'm definitely not posting that. But uh, what I was saying about this is that, after being on social media and things, you just see the habit that people have to perform, and a lot of it is basically, like, when it comes to healing and learning and, just being honest, that performative rawness comes with people. And I don't necessarily assume or like to, this is what I'll say. The things that they do put a pressure, at least for myself, puts a pressure on me when I'm creating to, if I'm going through something and I want to talk about that, I have to turn it into some kind of healing journey, or I have to turn it into some kind of positive moment, or, make sure that it ends to where I leave some inspiration and things. And it's not that I want to discourage people, but I feel like I'm more encouraged by honesty, not fake progression, or, you know, positivity. And it's not like positivity, like I hate positivity. It's just the performance of positivity. And it's just like, sometimes it's okay to just be like, this is what I'm going through. That's it. And people connect with that. I connect with that, so it's hard to feel like people understand when everybody is more set on trying to hide what they're going through underneath positivity. And it sounds like I'm trying to be nosy, like I want to be in their life, but it's not so much as me having a problem with what they're doing, because at the end of the day, people are going to do what they're going to do. People are like that for a lot of different reasons. Like some people just aren't that comfortable, and it's something they might have to learn how to do. So I would just, without assuming why they're that way, I guess I would just assume that, or I guess I would just assume that they're trying to communicate the best way they can, even though I know some people fake positivity just because it gets clicks. Um, Nonetheless, it's not about what they're doing and me having a problem with it. It's just what they're doing produces. And it's kind of like this. You can think about social media in general. People used to do them, and granted, like a lot of people try to live up to standards, even without social media. But the moment social media comes along and one person does something, everybody's trying to do that same thing. And then, over time, when everybody's doing that same thing, when somebody new comes along, they'll think that the thing that everybody is doing now is the way to be. And that's something that I struggle with being pressured by, and then struggle with trying to separate myself from, because I don't want to be like that. Um so it's just like, well, I'm a Christian. If I have a podcast or a blog, it always has to end in you know, some kind of hopeful conclusion and stuff. And that's not at all the kind of person that I want to be. Like, if it ends in hope, then it ends in hope. But I don't want to sit here and be connecting through um any emotions. I don't want to connect through sadness or frustrations or angers or anything. And it's not like trying to connect over, I wouldn't say negativity, but negativity. It's not about trying to connect over negativity. Like I said, it's about being the space for space, being able to know that, well, communicate how I'm feeling, and then let other people know that, one, it's normal. They're not alone. God isn't upset. And I'm really big on being human, and being able to know that I'm human, and being able to, or I guess I've just been inspired to let other people know that they're human. And it's like some things you go through, you do definitely want to have the intention to change from being that way, but sometimes you're just tired. Sometimes you're just confused, and sometimes you're just upset, and sometimes God just doesn't make sense. And it's not about feeling like God doesn't make sense and trying to force him to make sense to you. Now, one thing I do believe in is when you do that, like even when I feel these ways, I still know the truth about God, but it doesn't change the fact that at that moment I feel that way. And so I do want to communicate what it is that I know about him, but I also want to be real about what it is that I'm feeling. Um, because I know all of us go through that, or some people relate. You're going through something and then you just feel pressured to just end up being hopeful. And sometimes you just need to sit all day with God and be sad. Because one thing that I learned in my life is like, well, first, I'm going to say this. Yes. Like, I would describe myself not as like a depressing person, but I am a sad person. Like majority of the time I'm sad or down. And it's not like a negatively draining kind of way, even though some people may think that, but a a lot of the wisdom I have, a lot of the things that I have compassion towards are either things that make me sad or because of the way that I grew up. Like, I didn't grow up around too much joy or happiness or encouragement or unconditional love. So, honestly, God is my first consistent source of love, support, and encouragement. So, I'm a whole person before I got saved who, went through a lot and felt a lot and experienced a lot. So, a lot of the feelings that I have frequently are sadness or frustration or confusion and anger because of things that I'm remembering that I forgot and finding out that a lot of the ways I am is from something that I've been through, but I forgot what I went through. So when I feel a certain kind of way, I feel like it's coming out of nowhere, but it's not. And that's what I mean. Like, sometimes you just feel. You don't know where it's coming from all the time. And it's not always bad. Sometimes it's just stuff to sit and talk about. Sometimes it's just stuff to sit and be with God in. And it's you don't have to end hopeful and end encouraging, even though it's definitely important to make sure we set our mind on being with God, regardless of what we're going through, and focusing on Him. But a lot of the times, especially from social media, it's just that pressure to end on a positive note. You don't always have to end on a positive note. Sometimes with myself, when I am communicating, I do naturally flow into hope and something positive, and that's just because God is working and communicating, and like while I'm speaking, things are being put together. I don't really want to always need to prove anything or make a point, but sometimes like I will say over and over and over again, like I'm being honest, not because I'm trying to like, make it seem like all that in a bag of chips because I'm honest, but it's really just me trying to constantly reassure and remind myself like I want to be honest. I don't want to perform. I don't want to do that. Um and things like that. And it is important to me to at least communicate that once or twice so that people know, you know, what they're getting into and what they're putting their time and energy into listening to. Um I guess a little bit about myself. Um I am a female. I'm 23 years old soon. And I do say here and there. And I do ramble at times, but I'm working on that. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's definitely not what I want to do because I struggle with putting things into focus. Like, I'm one of those people where I think about doing something and I do it in my head. So it's already done, and all I need is to let it out. And that's what I want to do. And even though I can, when I do it, it leads me to ramble and start connecting the things that I'm talking about. And it just keeps me out of focus. So it's important to me to have some structure. Um, so I'm going to be working on that too. So sometimes I might go off on a tangent. A lot of times I hope that I can just be structured. I'm learning that the first part or the most important part into being a focused person, because like right now I don't have notes, but it's just getting on and knowing what I want to say. And it's not that I don't know what I want to say at other times. Like today, I just wanted to communicate one thing, but it's harder when you want to communicate multiple things. And so, even moments like this where I'm communicating one thing, you know, it was important for me too. And it is important to just know exactly what that is. Do I know exactly what I'm going to say? No, but I do have a focus point. And that's where I try to stay focused um, during this. So, like I said, this is a space for space. This is I Write Christian. And if you want to listen to more or read my blog and follow me on social media, I post other content. The blog is iwritechristian.com, IWRITE Christian.com. TikTok, same thing, iwritechristian.com. And then you can follow me on Instagram and subscribe to YouTube at I Write Christian. On YouTube, I just post podcast visuals. Sometimes, well, it's just my visual of my thumbnail. If sometimes you like to turn on YouTube and just look at something while you're listening to it rather than plugging in headphones and things like that. So that's just what I like to do. All right. There are the because I didn't practice the ending. So like I said, everything about my blog and socials should be on my Spotify description. They will be in my description on YouTube. Everything is I Write Christian. Um, Hopefully I can post some weekly uploads, some weekly episodes and blog posts. That's my goal. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to say. I don't know. That might be it. All right. Until next time.